Light of Motiram, the possibly giant copyright case, or something that could actually be a really good survival game. Now this is a game that was announced in 2024, and ever since then it's been a little bit controversial because it looks exactly, and I mean to the letter, of Horizon Zero Dawn, and it is going for that kind of vibe, but in a survival sort of MMO setting. And it does seem very interesting. Now, the developers of this game, they are Polaris Quest, and there's nothing on them. This is the first thing that they've done, and we don't have a release date yet. Now, as mentioned, it is basically Horizon Zero Dawn as a survival MMO title. A world overrun by colossal machines, explore the vast open world, and build your base of operations. We've done tons and tons of coverage of this. It mixes stuff in with like Power World as well, with the breeding, all of that kind of stuff. It's quite cool, and I do like the look of it, but at the same time the combat looks a little bit strange and sort of Dark Souls type vibe, you know, the big swords and all that kind of stuff, that kind of fighting style, which I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I love the fighting style of Horizon Zero Dawn, but they've kind of made it look similar to that, but not like that all at once. It's very strange, as you can see by the trailers in the background, but it does look cool. And there's been no news from the team since April. Well, on Steam anyway. There's not too much that goes on their social media pages either. But the Light of Motiram Steam page was last updated April 18th of 2025. So that is a few months ago. But if you head over to their website, there is tons of cool stuff on there. Going over the open world, how the game is going to work, authentic survival experiences, boundless crafting. There's a hell of a lot of focus there on more of the crafting and the animal side of things and the building. It is obviously co-op, so we'll have that, and it does look quite cool. I love their website, looks really interesting, but as you can see, the animals, they do look quite a little bit, other than obviously things like that, but the deer and the llama, they look exactly the same as Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, apologies for the segue again into the copyright. What I actually wanted to look at was all of these links at the bottom. Loads of cool stuff going out there, especially on YouTube. Since that trailer back in April 2 months ago, we've seen tons of videos from the team. Destruction, Redemption, Light of Motiram 4K showcase, and dev insights into the game. So today we're going to have a look at Light of Motiram and how things are going. I'm very excited for this. It does look very good. If it doesn't get shut down for some sort of copyright infringement before it actually releases, I think it could have the potential to be a good game, looking at some of the new trailers. And their most recent trailer that they put out just 4 days ago showcases a brand new sort of boss fight. Now, we've seen a couple of these boss instances and fights before, but they do seem to have looked very sort of arena based. Like we've seen it with a big gorilla, which looks quite cool, and then we've seen a couple of other bits that look like you're in the towers in Power World. So it's very much got those Power World, Ark Survival, Horizon Zero Dawn elements all rolled into one. You stick that together and this is the game. But this boss fight looks a little bit more sequenced, going into a sort of storyline element, and then it's open world. So hopefully it's not going to be boss fights that are confined to certain areas and arenas, because that would be a little bit boring. I do like being able to just wander around, especially if you're like a low level, finding those boss fights that are way above your level. It's like one of those boss fights that you go to like 15 times because you think, yeah, I'm going to get him. You're nowhere near. You keep getting a little bit closer, but you never actually get there. And after about 4.5 hours, when you wanted to do loads of other stuff, you've just been facing one boss fight that you lost several times. But then further on in the trailer, we see more of the tranquil side of the game. Being able to farm, plan, doing some fishing. There are elements of that that look really, really cool, and they showed a little bit more of this off in that dev diary that I spoke about earlier. But those building elements look awesome. Absolutely love how this is done. When it comes to the actual multiplayer experience as well, you can have your own world, just like Ark, and you're on your own, and then you can invite other players in. And then the PvP elements, I think, are relatively separate. There's not too much out there of those PvP elements, other than the short bits that we've seen in trailers before, which look like sort of arena-based combat, which is quite interesting. I do like that the PvP element is in here, but it does seem much more arena, you against a couple of machines or a couple of machines against you, and then whether the players are going to swap that out or whether they're just machines roaming in arenas and it's against other players, don't know. But it does look interesting. It's definitely something I'll give a go at least once, see how we get on. But I'm very excited for this. We've still got no release date, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not too long. I don't know whether they're going into early access or not. I do believe that's something they want to do, but whether that's going to be the end of this year or maybe even late 2026, early 2027, we don't know. But it does seem more interesting with each piece of gameplay that we see. If you are a fan of Light of Motiram, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and stick around for much more content. We'll be covering this when we get more news about the game from either the devs or they release a new trailer. It does seem like they're doing something every sort of month. We'll have to wait and see. But now though, that's it from me. I've been Wyatt, you've been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.